What if the most private thing about you is not private at all? Not your search history, not your messages, your actual thoughts. For years, mind science has been moving from science fiction towards science fact. With brain scans, AI, and other emerging tools, researchers are getting better at inferring what someone sees, remembers, or intends. Not perfectly, not magically, but enough to raise a huge question. Can we read minds responsibly? And if we can, should we? In this video, we are looking at 5 ethical dilemmas at the center of mind science. Not just the scary stuff, but the useful side too, because the same tools that could invade privacy could also help people who cannot speak, detect disease earlier, or improve mental health care. The real issue is not whether mind reading is possible in a Hollywood sense. It is whether our ability to decode the brain can be used without crossing a line. First dilemma, consent. The brain is not a public billboard. If technology can infer what you are imagining, feeling, or intending, then who gets permission to access that data? This matters because brain data can be deeply revealing. Unlike a password, you cannot exactly change your patterns of thought. Useful example. In medicine, a patient who is unable to speak could use brain-computer interfaces to communicate simple needs. Pain, hunger, yes, no. That is life-changing. But the same technology used without clear consent could become surveillance of the most intimate kind. So the rule has to be simple. If your brain data is being collected, you should know exactly what is being measured, why, and who can see it. Second dilemma. Therapy and diagnosis can look a lot like intrusion. Brain science can help detect depression, epilepsy, sleep disorders, or early signs of neurological decline. Mechanically, that works because the brain's activity patterns change with illness, so researchers look for signatures in those signals. That is useful because it can catch problems earlier than a person's behavior alone might reveal. But here is the problem. If employers, schools, or insurers got access to those signals, they could use them to label people before there is even a real problem. Concrete example, imagine a student whose brain data suggests high stress. A doctor could use that to offer support. A university could use it to pressure, track, or exclude. Same data, very different ethics. Third dilemma, just because a system can guess does not mean it understands. A lot of mind science works by pattern recognition. An algorithm compares brain activity with huge data sets and predicts likely thoughts, images, or intentions. That is powerful, but it is not mind reading in the absolute sense. It is inference, and that distinction matters because false confidence can do real harm. If a system says, this person is hiding something, but it is wrong, that could affect a job interview, a legal case, or a diagnosis. Useful side. In prosthetics, better prediction can help a robotic arm move more naturally because the system anticipates intention. But in law enforcement or interrogation, the stakes are much higher, and errors could be devastating. Fourth dilemma, who gets access? If mind science becomes expensive, it could create a world where only wealthy people get cognitive enhancements, better treatments, or privacy protections. That is a real mechanism of inequality. Technology often spreads unevenly first, then becomes normal. If brain tools improve attention, communication, or recovery, people with resources could get a head start. Concrete example, a brain-based device that helps stroke patients speak again is incredible. But if it is priced like luxury tech, many patients will not benefit. So ethical mind science is not just about what is possible, it is about who gets to use it. Fifth dilemma, if we can influence the brain, where does persuasion end and manipulation begin? Mind science can help design better treatments for addiction, anxiety, or chronic pain by understanding how the brain responds to reward, fear, and habit. That is useful because it can help people regain control. But the same knowledge can be used to make ads, interfaces, or political messages more psychologically sticky. Concrete example, if an app learns when you are most vulnerable and pushes notifications at just the right moment, is that convenience or exploitation? The mechanism here is simple. The brain is responsive to timing, repetition, and emotional cues. Use that to help someone heal, and it is medicine. Use it to trap attention, and it is manipulation. So can we read minds responsibly? Yes, but only if we treat brain data like the most sensitive data in existence. That means clear consent, strict limits, transparent algorithms, fair access, and strong protections against misuse. Because the goal of mind science should not be to break privacy. It should be to understand the brain well enough to help people, without taking away the very thing that makes us human, the right to think freely. Can we read minds responsibly? 5 ethical dilemmas in mind science is just one small part of ethics and morality. If you are interested, our full free ethics and morality course is linked in the description.